about to leave. Already packing, come with me. I'm not.
Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy for Now. It's my July mid-month wrap up. So it is, I'm filming this on the 15th. I'm in the middle of 3 books right now that I'm only probably gonna finish one of those today, so I figured we just film this now and call it. But I have read 15 books and DNF'd one. And in my mid-month wrap-ups, we're just going to talk about what I've read so far this month, what I'm currently reading, and then at the end of the month, I'll give you stats and all that good stuff. So let's get right to it, and I'll talk about my one DNF this month so far. I feel like I came into the beginning of the year, was like, I'm going to DNF more, and I haven't. I didn't. I did not listen to myself, but I did DNF this, and I DNF'd it at like 40%, because I really said, no, we're done. And that book was In Her Custody by Jessica Cain, which what do I say? So I enjoy Jessica Cain. So usually a solid 3.5, 4-star reads for me. I've had ones I've liked more than others. They're very short, quick reads, but I could not drag myself through this 60-page trash pile. So first of all, it's her stepdad. So I was reading it for the Step Family vlog. It was her stepdad. He marries her mom that has an addiction problem, and he shows up to get her out of prison or like whatever from being arrested. And he's like, I'm your new stepdad. You're gonna listen to me. And so he's a cop and a stalker because he like saw the picture of her on her mom's phone and fell in love. And I don't know. I read another stepdad romance that was fine, like that I didn't hate, but this just like, it was too much. Like pick one and go with it. So like give me a cop stalker. Also like just the whole police force stuff, like I don't know. I personally just don't, I've discussed this before, I don't like cop or military romances or firefighters necessarily or any of that. Like I'll read it occasionally, but it's not my cup of tea. I feel like firefighters tend to be okay-ish, but like, you know, like after last summer, I just, maybe not. Just maybe not. Maybe not. And because of that, I just was like, this is too much. I needed one or the other, and I DNF'd it at 40%, which is probably ridiculous. I should have finished it, but honestly, I was just like not having fun. It wasn't even that steamy yet. It just was a weird one. Not for me. Not for me. And then from there, let's talk about the books I read in the order I read them this month so far. We have Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This first chunk of books will all be from my Summerween vlog. Survive the Night was weird. Not for me. I'm settling around a 2.5. I think this is his worst book yet. I have enjoyed every other Riley Sager book I've read so far, and this one really did nothing for me. I at one point, so my mom read it and Temecka from Library of Tomes was reading at the same time. We were like kind of all, I was talking to my mom and her about it. And my mom was like, I liked it, it's fine. And then Temecka was like, I fucking hate this book. and I was like texting because I listened to it after they'd finished. I was like, I swear to God, if this turns out to be a dream, I'm gonna flip my shit. And it wasn't a dream. So there's that. But I just didn't like it. I didn't like how we used hallucinations, kind of, I guess we'll call it, and other elements in this. It just did not work for me, but I will note that it kind of had an HEA at the end, which is kind of hilarious to me since it's like a thriller. So there's that. Let me know if you've read it and you liked it, because I'm really curious. I'm noticing it's very polarizing. Then I read I Married a Lizard Man. Yeah, so I read I Married a Lizard Man by Regine Abel. This follows Alex and Susan. Alex is a lizard alien man, and Susan is like a third daughter on a farming planet, not country, and is going to get shipped off to another planet as for matchmaking to help them procreate and all this fun stuff. And it's the sweetest alien romance I've ever read. This is not like a let me like blow your mind with wild alien stuff romance. This is like a small town romance, but alien. It was so precious. There was so much communication between this couple, and I just loved them immensely. I honestly am just stunned by how good this one was. I didn't expect it. And it was a really fun buddy read I did with Bree from In Love and Words, Stef from Novelty Corner, Temecka from Library of Tomes, Shae from Shae Geeks Out, and I feel like I'm missing somebody. I gotta go look. Ooh, who am I missing? Oh, and Megan from This Past Romance. So yeah, all of us read that and it was a total blast. Such a cute, cute story. If you're looking for a sweet alien romance, definitely pick up I Married a Lizard Man. Then I read an early copy of Skin by Evita Weiss. This is another monster fucker book. Y'all know I love them. It's a thing in my life. This was also a 4-star read. This follows Harbin and Flint. Harbin feels people's like past when she touches them. And Flint is like a gargoyle, and it was just like a nice steamy novella. It was not, I think I liked Feed more, but I still really liked both of these, and I really need Evita to get out her full-length novels about these two sets of characters. Like, I need them immediately. Then I continued my Summerween reading with A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is a gothic novel, I would say, and horror light. There is vampire stuff, blood, there's sex in this, there's polyamory, there is LGBTQ representation, and it is lyrically written in a way that is like so engaging. I listened to this on audio via my Hoopla and I loved it immensely. This was so freaking good. So freaking good. If you have any interest in like slightly darker slightly darker stories with romantic elements, not a love story, this is not a romance, y'all, and Dracula's Bride / brides, this could be a fun one to check out. It's really unique. It is one of the most unique stories I've read this year so far, and honestly in recent years one of the most unique ones. I loved this book. I want it for my shelves. 5 stars, 6 stars. It is definitely on my favorites of the year list. Then I read Final Girls by Riley Sager, and I gave this 5 stars because I actually liked it. Final Girls follows a group of girls who were the final girls from a murderer's spree. So they were the ones who got out, they survived. One of the girls ends up dead, and she wants to find out what is happening and why, and she ends up meeting another girl, and it's a whole unraveling. This was a really fun one. I don't want to tell you too much, obviously it's a thriller, so I can't spoil it, but I want to say that I was left really surprised at the end for who the murderer was. It wasn't who I suspected at all, so I love that. Like, if I don't always need to not know, but I love when I don't know and I find out. And I love everything about how this unfolded so much. It was such a fun ride, and I really yeah, this might be my favorite Riley Sager, but I also really liked Home Before Dark at the same time, so I'm not sure yet. I got one more to read, so we'll see. Then I read First Comes Blood by Lilith Vincent. This is a mafia reverse harem. This is Lilith Vincent is Brianna Hale's new pen name. She's not being secretive about this, so I'm okay sharing that. I got an arc of this. It comes out at the 21st of this month, and so like literally you'll see this video and it's out in 2 days, so, and maybe hold it for your TBR, because there's something it would count for everything on coming your way very soon. But First Comes Blood was, it threw me into a dark spiral. I'm not gonna lie to you. It made me want to read all the dark romance, all the reverse harems, which I don't dislike reverse harems, I just don't naturally gravitate to picking them up. I'm trying to pick them up more often, so we'll see what I manage. So I really loved this. This was a solid 4.5 for me. I had a few small quibbles with plotting and some of the stuff, but this had a man for every kind of reader. So if you like the gruff one that's secretly a cuddly teddy bear, you got him. If you like the one that is a sociopath, you got him. If you like the one that is beautiful and kind of sweet, you got him. And if you like the one that seems normal, you got him. This follows a girl who is promised to be married to one of these 4 men who are like the head of the criminal underground in her city, where her dad's the mayor, and on her 18th birthday. And this follows her finding that out and seeing a lot of things go down, and experiencing a lot of things going down. She's definitely a little bit of a bumbling heroine for us in this story, but she slowly starts to find her own by the end. So I'm ready for book 2. Lilith, whenever you can give me that arc, please and thank you. Like, grab your hands, you know? Absolutely loved this. Then I read The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. This is her debut thriller. 3 stars. It's a Jane Eyre retelling, which I've never read Jane Eyre. I've never read any classics. I've read Anne of Green Gables, y'all, and like whatever I had to read in school, that's it. I don't read classics, it's not my thing. But I do enjoy retellings generally, so I was curious about this, and I got an arc through the Libro FM audio listener program. So if you are an influencer and have like over 1,000 subscribers on any platform, you can get free audio arcs through them. It's really cool. But I got it through there, and I gave it 3 stars. I liked a lot of the storytelling. I liked the attempts made, but it just didn't like hit the nail on the head with the execution. I'm curious enough to probably read her next book that comes out next January. Her next thriller, Reckless Girls, I think it's called. Because I think that she could deliver like a really good thriller given a little more practice. Then I read What the Hex by Alexis Daria, who I love. If you're new here, I'm obsessed with Alexis Daria. I adore her writing. I think I've read almost everything she's written, except for like some stuff's gotten, it's a whole thing. Anyways, I can't wait for her to write more. What the Hex is an Audible original, and I really liked this as well. This follows a girl who is left home, and she did like fabric magic, and she's come back for her sister's wedding to find out everyone's been possessed by a demon, and she and her high school nemesis help overthrow the demon and fall in love along the way. Like all of these Audible originals, it's too dang short. I wanted more, but I had such a blast with this. I still gave it 4 stars. I think this one might be my favorite of the Audible originals I've listened to so far. I do have a few more to get through. If y'all want me to review a bunch of them together, I could do that. I don't know if anybody cares or not, but this one and The AI Who Loved Me are probably my favorites so far. But this features a lot of Bruja magic and interesting storylines, and I liked like some of the foundation of the world that was being set. It's like 4 hours, 5 hours. You don't get enough time to like be in it, you know? Hi, it's editing me. I realized I left an entire book off. So hello. Sorry for the noise. It's yard day, so of course. Anyways, I left off The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley, and I loved this book. I have changed my 4.5 to a 5. This was an incredible true crime mystery situation. Danis, our main character, ends up falling in love with the new boy in town, and we follow her journey and ending up to help the FBI on a case and an investigation, and her finding herself and figuring out what's really happening in her community, specifically around meth being distributed and who's doing that. She witnesses her best friend's murder, and it is just a roller coaster ride of a book from there. Loved it. Absolutely amazing. I am going to give some content warnings real quick. There is kidnapping and murder on page, drugs, including use, selling, and making. There is sexual assault. It is not just graphically done on page, but it is discussed. And it does happen during the story. There is racism against Indigenous Americans, and there is, oh my gosh. Let me look at my list. Fat phobia also happens in this book, and suicide. I think that's it. I think I got it all. I have all of these up on my Goodreads review, by the way, if you need it, but oh, it was such a good book. Such a good book. So I highly recommend this one. Absolutely loved it. I'm gonna throw it back to me not looking a mess. Oh, then we started my stepfamily reading vlog books. So I'm gonna run through those real quick, and that'll be it for the wrap up. So we have Picture Perfect by Evangeline Anderson. This was a 3-star for me, 5 out of 5 on the smut. This was a very great smutty little quick read. This is a couple-hour audiobook, very quick read. This follows a girl and her stepbrother. She's a model, and he makes her take him to a shoot, and it turns out to be an erotica shoot for a like Kama Sutra type book. and they need a male model, and he volunteers, and there's some penetration and other things on set. It is hot, very, very hot. But the way it all wrapped up as I stood in Walmart checking out my groceries, I was just like, huh? This is the end? This is how we're wrapping this up? And I was like, this is okay. So 3 stars. 3 stars. I was just blank faced, like completely disassociated, waiting in line to check out with like my earbud telling me about them banging. So, you know, sometimes you're a different breed as a romance reader. Yeah, it was just not great plotting. Then I read The Black Fox by Brianna Hale, and I gave this 3.5 stars. This suffered from length. This is like a 100-page novella. It needed to be longer. That is the like end all. It needed to be longer. It needed a little more development by not being 100 pages. Like, that is literally all it needed. If it had 25, 50 more pages, I think I would have loved it. I think it would have been a solid 4, 4.5. It features a guy who's like a Zorro hero, and he retires and he ends up marrying this lady, and then her stepdaughter shows up and she's 18 and he's like been in love with her. And they kind of start doing things when he's Zorro and not her stepdad. And then she finds out and a whole thing happens. It's not bad. It is by no means bad. I wouldn't say don't read it. I just thought, man, what could she have done with like 50 more pages? Like, I just needed a little more plot development. It is smoking hot though. There's like a scene where he has like a belt on her throat. Whew. And I was like, fan me off. This is too much. But yeah, it just needed a little more. Then I read Fallen Crest High by T-Jin. This is my, he had his hair spiked in a badass way. That's all I got, y'all. I don't understand. I gave this 3 stars. It just felt overly dramatic for me and just kind of too slow to develop. I will note, I think on these last 3 that I read, they're all high school bully stepbrother romances. They all blur together to an extent, which is a problem. That's on me. I did bad planning on my TBR. I didn't realize it. But then I read Witch Hat Atelier Volume 1, and I loved this manga. It's stunning. I will have a first impressions up tomorrow if you're watching this video on the day it comes out, where I go in depth on the first 3 volumes of the series. No spoilers, but I'll talk about what I'm liking, what I'm connecting with, and why or why not I will continue reading it. I think I'm going to continue reading it after volume 1. I'm pretty sure I will. But yeah, so you'll have that to watch on Monday, so I hope you're excited. Witch Hat Atelier is about a girl who wants to be a witch and ends up finding out the secret of how the witches have powers, and has this book that has some of their stuff in it, like their spells. She doesn't know that. She goes back to town with a older witch to train, and we're following her adventures. Then I read Mint Chocolate Volume 1. This follows 2 high schoolers who've had crushes on each other, so whose parents end up getting married. And it's just kind of their slow build relationship. It's very cute so far. Like a little awkward, cute, like, you know, that sort of thing. But I'm really, really liking it. I think it's such a fun time. And I'm really excited to pick up Volume 2, and I already pre-ordered Volume 3 on this one. I gave both of those 4 stars. All right, we got 2 more books. So I also finished Tell Me Pretty Lies by Charlie Rose. I gave this 3 stars. Ugh, again, the whole high school thing. This one was like a murder mystery. You're trying to figure out who was involved in the death of one of their step siblings. And they had been kind of hooking up early on in the parents' relationship, and then broke up, and then he bullies her, and it's a whole thing. It was okay. I would read another Charlie Rose book, but this one was not for me. Then I finally read Resurrection by Saban Davis. I already have book 2 checked out. I am so excited for it. I gave this 4 stars. This is a dark romance, bully reverse harem romance. So he ends up, she hooks up with these 4 guys, like chapter 2, y'all. I did like a TikTok about it in a reel. I was like mind blown because whoo, and it was hot. So they hooked up in like chapter 2, and the tape, there ends up being a tape of this whole thing, and it gets released, and she has changed schools, and it's a whole thing. Like, she got kicked out of her private school and changed schools. Her dad's recently dead. That's why she ended up hooking up with him. She just like wanted to have a bad night. Her ex was shitty and cheating on her, all this stuff. This is like the Boys of Brayshaw High, if you've read that. Very, very, very over the top. If you don't want over the top, this is not the book for you. If you're like me and you can kind of pretend they're not in high school and like they're in college instead with the over the topness and the way they're behaving, you might enjoy it. I really had a fun time with this, but I do want to say book 1 ends on a cliffhanger. And then when I talked to Heather from Hia Booktubes, she has read through book 3 and DNF'd it because of sodomy and rape of a side character that happened on the page that was really intense. So I'm prepped for that, and I do plan to finish the series hopefully maybe by the end of this month or next month, so I will let you know, obviously, if I find anything wrong with it or decide not to continue. But yeah, it definitely ends on a cliffhanger in book 1 where you're gonna want to keep reading, and it definitely has content warnings for a lot of things. Murder, rape, revenge porn, gang violence, drug war stuff, addiction problems, kidnapping, abuse, child abuse. All of this is like on the page. It is a lot. It is a heavy book, so go in prepared. Let's talk about my current reads. I'm currently reading The Woman Who Rides by Tamora Pierce. This is book 3 in the Song of the Lioness series. Right now I think it's gonna be a 3-star. I'm really enjoying it, but I will be finishing that up a little later today, probably, the day I'm filming this. I'm also reading Song of the Forever Rain by E.J. Meadows. I barely started this. I literally listened to the prologue. My bestie read this and yelled at me to go read it. It is a fantasy romance, so I'm very excited. The second book hits in like October, so that sounds really great to me that we're like gonna, you know, get them pretty quickly. This was part of like the Prime first reads, so I'm very excited to see what I think. I know nothing about the plot. I haven't read anything about it. I just got told to read it, so here I am. And then lastly, I'm reading Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. I started this right during Summerween, and then I never went back to it because I pivoted fully to thrillers. So I'm not very far. I'm like 10-15%, and I want to go back probably this weekend or here in the next week and finish this book. I'm really, really interested by the setup of it, but it didn't hook me enough to like immediately draw me back after reading Her Soul to Take, or after reading my Summerween books. So we'll see. If you made it this far in the video though, let me know your fave that you've read so far this month or something you're currently reading and enjoying. And if you don't want to do that, leave me a moon emoji in the comments, and I will have links to all of the books I talked about them there in that description box for you, as well as links to Be My Friend anywhere on the internet if you want to do that. And I will see y'all in just a few days. Bye.
About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distraction.